so glad you're here. It is a beautiful day. Well, it's not beautiful. It was a beautiful day yesterday, wasn't it? Last night we were out walking around and it was warm, and I almost decided I don't need to move to Florida, but I'm still talking with my wife about that. Years ago, no, one years ago. What was it like last year? Last year when I was in college, okay, eons ago, 30, 40 years ago, when I was in college, I was a sports fanatic. I'd gotten out of high school, and in high school I played sports. I played football, basketball, ran track. I was always involved in things, and I loved it. And then I got to college, and college was bigger and a lot more people and a lot better competition, and I realized I wasn't going to be able to play basketball or football there. I did run track there for a while, for a couple of years on the track team. But it didn't do anything for my sports deal. I still loved it. I mean, I watched all my favorite teams on TV, and I wanted to participate. And so they had something called intramurals. Y'all know what intramurals are? That's when all the students in the school who were just like me, a frustrated athlete, wanted to play. They had basketball, football, volleyball, and one year they had softball, only one. And my goal was to win those. Like, that would be a big deal, you know. That would be the pinnacle of my life if we won the championship and all of those things. And so I set out to do it. It took me about 10 years staying in college, but I eventually was on a team that won basketball, football, volleyball, and the one year they had softball, we got to the semifinals and got upset, and it was just a devastating thing. But I played. The basketball team that I played on was made up of some really good players. Some of them had played college basketball before and were now just in college, and some of them went ahead and played on the college team a year or two later. But, and I was not a star at all. I played about half the time. I didn't start. And I played, and I contributed, but I wasn't much. Well, we got to the finals. And in the finals, I didn't play a bit. All season long, I played about half the game and things like that, but the team had no coach, so the 5 players on the floor are the ones who decided, and they decided, we're going to play the whole time. And I'm just sitting over there. And we won the championship. I didn't much feel like it, though. I mean, I'm just sitting there. We won the championship. Yay. Kind of tells you the kind of guy I was. They took a photo of our team afterwards, and they're all really excited and holding the trophy up, and I'm like, which tells you I had some problems with being for others, but I realized that there was something inside me that was missing. I hadn't contributed anything. We won the championship, but in that game I contributed nothing, and I felt worthless. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever just kind of felt like, man, I don't understand it. I don't get this life thing. I don't feel like I'm contributing. Well, we'll come back to that in just a minute. We are wrapping up a series today called, What on Earth Am I Here For? Why do I exist? What's my purpose in life? Do I have a purpose in life? And we've learned some pretty interesting things. The first week we learned that we are created to be God's friend. God's friend. Not his servants, not his minions, not the people that he takes the whip and says, do this and do that. And no, we were created to be friends, to talk with him, to have a relationship with him, and to follow him as friends. The next week we learned that we were created to be a part of God's family. God calls everyone to follow him. Now, lots of people don't. They just choose not to, and God allows them not to. But for those of us who choose to follow God, we become a part of his family. There's a place for us to belong. We are not alone. And in our church, in the community, we have community groups. And truthfully, our community group is my favorite time of the week. We get together, we eat a meal. This last week we went out to a restaurant. And we just have a good time. I mean, we just enjoy being together. We share our lives together. We are created to be a part of that and to share our lives. And then last week we learned that we were created by God to be like Jesus. And as you think about that, that's not a bad thing, is it? People like Jesus. Most everybody in the world liked the way Jesus lived. Jesus lived a life unlike anybody else. He was incredible. He cared for people. He reached out for people. He didn't care about monetary things or things like that. He was just all about people. And even though people in the world hate Christianity and they hate the church, maybe because of the way we act, they didn't hate Jesus. And we were called to be like Jesus. And we learned that last week as we were looking at it, that that's a process. You don't just follow Jesus and then you become little Jesus on the earth. It would be nice, but you don't. You have to learn. You have to grow. And each step along the way takes you there. But today we're going to wrap this series up on why we exist, why we are on this earth, what our purpose is with this. We were created to contribute. You were created to be a part of things and to contribute. The world would not be the same without you. We were created to contribute. Look at Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10. Paul wrote this. For we are God's masterpiece. Now that's pretty cool. Think about that for a minute. God's masterpiece. There are famous artists, famous composers, and there's a song or something or a painting, and they say, this is their masterpiece. This is what they live for. Everything else pales in comparison to this right here. That's what that says. You, me, every single one of us, whether we follow God or we don't follow God, we are His masterpiece. We're the pinnacle of creation. God created us and said, this is the deal right here. We were created to be His masterpiece, and we were created anew in Christ Jesus. Those of us who follow Jesus, then we can do the good things He planned for us long ago. One thing you need to understand is this. If you follow Jesus, God has good things for you. If you don't follow Jesus, God has good things planned for you, but you may never get there. He planned from the beginning. Before you were created, before you walked the earth, He had a plan for you. And it was to do good things. To contribute. To be a part. Not just to watch and let others have all the glory. So we need to look at this a little bit and decide. Because we were created to serve. That doesn't really sound right, because think about it. What is it you'd most like? Well, I'd like to have a plane and a pilot. I'd like to have a big house. I'd like to have a huge pool that's taken care of by someone else. And they just kind of take care of me. And I could go out there and sit by the pool. And I could have friends over. And people would bring us food. And, you know, if I just had more power and more wealth, life would be better. The only problem is, history shows us that doesn't work. There are some people who are incredibly rich, insanely rich, who have everything that they can need. And did you know that those people commit suicide at the same rate as people who don't have anything? Those people get divorce rates maybe a little bit higher than people who don't have anything. It seems that having what we want doesn't really give us what we want. We hold it out as our goal, but it's not really that. But Jesus said, I've created you to serve. You and I were created to be involved in the world and to serve other people. That doesn't sound like much fun, does it? Serving other people, how does that work? But it's what we were called to. Jesus said, as He was talking to the disciples, He said, listen, I'm the Son of Man. I'm the Messiah. I am the promised one. I am God's Son. And I didn't come to be served. I came to serve and to give my life as a ransom in place of your lives. That's pretty dramatic. A little bit later on, He's talking with the disciples, and they're kind of arguing about who's going to be the best and who's going to be the greatest in the kingdom, and I'm better than you. And Jesus said, listen, if you want to be the greatest, You got to be the servant of all. We don't really value servants much, do we? We think of servants as having a lower job and they're just doing that until they can get something better. But Jesus called us to serve, to get involved with other people. Now, how does that make sense? Well, it doesn't make sense to me, but as I've lived my life, it begins to. The things that make me the happiest, the things that bring me the most joy, the things that really get me going are investing in other people's lives. Giving them what they need or helping them in whatever way I can so that they can be more successful. And it just fires me up. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about what's going on in their life. And it just keeps me going. Jesus said, I've come to give you a good life. A life that's rich, a life that's full, a life that's like chocolate cake. Didn't come to give you incredible riches. Didn't come to give you no problems, because that doesn't happen in our world. I came to give you purpose in life. And that purpose centers around serving other people. That's what we were called to do. If we decided to follow Jesus and we decided we wanted power, we didn't really follow Jesus. Let me give you an example. Do you know, if you're a waiter, what is the worst time to serve all throughout the week? The worst meal to serve at?
Sunday lunch.
Sunday lunch. Nobody wants to serve Sunday lunch. Do you know why?
They're rude and don't tip.
Because Christians go out to eat. And Christians are rude and demanding and leave no tip.
There you go.
Do you know what a waiter makes their money off of? They make about $1.50, $2 an hour. You can't live on that. They make their money off of tips. If they don't get a 15 or 20% tip, they don't survive. And we think of it as, well, they didn't do very well, so I'm not giving them this. But here's the deal. We have a reputation. Jesus called us to serve. He says, I want you to take care of other people and give other people help and just be there for them. And instead, we formed a reputation that is, no, we're all for ourselves. You talk to business people, and I have talked with some. Do you know who the worst customers are? Do you know the people they have the most trouble with? Christians. They complain about everything. They never like anything. They're slow to pay, if they pay. But they just don't think about it. And yet we were called to serve. We were called to care for other people, to be on the front lines and to help other people and be encouraging to other people when something good happens to them, cheer them on. And yet somehow we've gotten to the point, as Christians sometimes, where we do just the opposite. We were called to serve. It's our mission. But it isn't just a sad mission, because it's where we find life. So let's go to the next point. You were created with a passion. A couple of days a week, I go out to the store, Carter's store, Kimbrough's. Carter and Jay run Kimbrough's, and I help them deliver furniture. And I am not a great person with directions. I seem to have trouble getting where I'm going. You know what I mean? Any of y'all that way? Challenged? I'm challenged. So, we deliver furniture. We've delivered to Amarillo, Texas. We go to Fort Worth. We go to Dallas. We go to Sherman Denison. We go to Edmond. We go to Tulsa. We deliver all over the place. And they have to trust me to drive to those places. But they've come up with a plan. It's on your phone called GPS. Have you seen that? GPS. You plug in the address and the town, and it's an amazing thing because you can get in the truck, and as I pull out of the driveway, it will say, turn right. I turn right. in 2 miles, turn left. I get there, they said, now turn left. And all the way, I mean all the way, right up to their door, it tells me exactly what to do and exactly when to do it. And so I look really intelligent because we get where we're going. Now, Jay and I have had a couple of opportunities where we've messed that up, but for the most part, we get where we're going. GPS, it's a great thing. Have y'all tried it? I'm a little behind, okay? But wouldn't it be great if there was something in life that could show us how to live the life we're supposed to? If we're supposed to be living a successful life, we're supposed to be living a life that makes us feel fulfilled. Most of us are really messing up because we aren't getting it. Oh, we're doing things that kind of are fun and stuff like that, but down in our heart we're going, man, there's more to life than this. Wouldn't it be great if there was something, a GPS on your phone, you just pull it up and say, how do I find where I'm supposed to go and how I have a successful life? Be great. But truthfully, there is something. There is something that can kind of tell us what to do and how to take the next step and how to step by step get where we need to go. And it's passion. We were created with passion. When I was in the 8th grade, I was passionate about basketball. I was going to be an NBA superstar, even though I didn't have the talent and all that sort of stuff. But I would get up every morning before school, and I would tell my mom, if the weather's at least 40 degrees, it was in northwest Oklahoma, and so in the winter it kind of got colder than that most of the time, but if it's at least 40 degrees, wake me up. I'm going to go up and play basketball for half an hour. I'd get up, I'd dribble behind my back, between my legs, I'd pass the ball. I was really pretty good as a ball handler. I learned well with that. I was a horrible shooter. And I found out later on that that's what people valued. That's how you win the game. I'm out there dribbling around. They don't care. And so, but I'm working on it. And so for the first time that year, I'm not starting, but I'm getting to play for the first time because of the practice I'm doing. I was passionate about basketball. You have passion too. There's something in your life that you're passionate about. You may not even really think about it right now because you kind of push it away just to get through life. There are things you got to do, and you got to pay the bills, and got to get supper ready, and you got to do all these things, and so you push passion aside. But every single one of us has passion. And the truth is that passion is what is going to lead us where God wants us to experience the life that He created for us. Let me give you an example. When I was a little boy, I always seemed to be inventing things, creating things, putting things together. I was always putting together a basketball league for my friends and I. I'm writing the rules, I'm putting together the court and all those sort of things, and I'm writing it down. We may have never done it, but I put it all together. A football league that we did. And then I began to invent games. When I was in high school and in college, I invented games. And I would sit down late at night and I would put it all together. Because I don't know what it was. There's just something inside me that did it. And these games would have been huge and we'd run all over the town and all this sort of thing. I invented one game when I was in college. It was called Whodunit. And Whodunit was something that I did for our youth. I was a youth minister, and so every year at Halloween we would have Whodunit. It was a big deal. And we would have a murder mystery. Godly thing, I think. Murder mystery. But we would get all of our workers together. We had about 10 or 15 youth workers, and I'd get them all together, and I would tell them, here's what's going to happen. Here's the script. You need to go, and you're going to be these characters. This is what's going to happen, so you need to get your costumes together. And then we would bring in furniture, and we would take a house, and we would totally refurnish the house to make it look exactly like what we were talking about. Then we would film the scene of what happened that night, just so that we would know. And then we would put them in their rooms, and I would tell them, you know what? You're suspects. They're going to come through and going to question you, and you can say whatever you want to say. You can say whatever you want to say, because that's basically the way it is, isn't it? If they're interviewing people, they can say whatever they want to say, and we'll put some clues in your room, and we'll let people come through, and all the youth will come through, and they'll try to decide who did this, and at the end, we'll show them the video. And it became a huge deal. Every year, we'd have hundreds of kids coming through. They'd bring in their friends through. They loved it. I mean, we went to the next church. We did it there, and it got bigger and bigger and bigger. Eventually, I gave it to some other people, some other youth ministers, and even bigger groups that they could use there. But there was something about it that I always wanted to create. I always wanted to start something new. I would draw out golf courses, and I would put everything where it needed to be. I used to take Monopoly boards and recreate them. There was just something in me, and I didn't really realize what it was. About 7 years ago, I was in a class at Life Church called Kazone. And it leads you through your passion and helps you discover what it is that God has called you to do. After I'd gone through the course, at the end it says, write down what you think God has said to you. And I wrote down, I am supposed to start a church. That's what God has created me for. That's what He's had in mind from the beginning. I'm 50-some, 60 years old, but that's it. Shortly afterwards, we began this process of creating a church. A church that's unlike most of the churches I'd ever been in. A church that is totally for people on the outside so that they can come in and they can hear the music and see what goes on. And hear the message and get a chance to actually decide. And we're not trying to act like Christians. We're trying to act like good people. People who care about other people. My passion is what drove me to that. And there are others here. Have you seen the band? The band is awesome. And they love it now. They love to sing. You can tell. They're happy to be here. They have found their passion. God has put it into their lives, and they love it. I mean, most of them would love to give up their careers and just do this full time if they could. Have you been to the children's ministry? I mean, Mitch and Diana have created a world right through those doors. If you haven't been over there, it is a world like you can't believe. It is a street. You just have to go over there and see it. They are passionate about it. They have found what God has created them to do. And man, they are passionate about it. He's not here today, so I can talk about him. Brent, who was the manager at Goodyear over the entire plant, the most successful tire plant in the world. He was the manager of it. And I spent some time with him. I found out that Brent, as a leader, is one who says, my job is to help make people's lives better. I find out what they need. I get them what they need so they can do what they need to do. He just retired from there. And God showed me, you need to get him on staff. So I went to him and I said, Brent, we want you on staff. He doesn't need the money. But he said, okay. He's come on staff. He's directing our ministry now. Just like he directed Goodyear, he's now directing our entire ministry. And he has incredible passion for it. This is what he's called to do. He has dreams, and his dreams sometimes are bigger than mine. And it just blows me away. Have you been to the youth program back there? Parker has got something going with our youth. And Wednesday night we were here, and there was a bunch of youth back there, and they're filming something. And they're just having a ball. There's passion. Our goal as this church is to find your passion and to help you plug it in, because it will make your life so much better. It may not change what you do for a living, it may not change where you live, but it will change your life. And we've got volunteers all over who do our snacks, who are ushers, who are our greeters, who just are finding what they're created to do. That's our goal, to help you find what you were created to do, and then to give you what you need to do it week after week. Passion. Through your passion. But you know what? That doesn't happen very often. Throughout the years that I was a minister in a church, we just didn't see it. And I realized it was because of this. We wouldn't give it a go. Give it a go. Where that came from is we used to go to Disney World every 2 years. Carla and I did, and Ted Keaton. And we were not wealthy. And so most of the time, or a lot of times, we'd go out there and we'd stay in a motel that was close to Disney World, that was very cheap, and then we'd go to Disney World. One year we went and stayed in a hotel that was incredibly cheap. It didn't smell good. And it was kind of weird, kind of a weird area, but we're there. We came home one night and we're out there and Keaton's playing. He's got a yo-yo. He's like, I don't know, 7, 8 years old, something like that. And there's another little boy there who comes over, and he's from England. His family's there from England. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but they're staying there. And Keaton's playing with the yo-yo. And the kid says to Keaton, "Hey, can I give it a go?" Keaton says, "Give it a go." He says, "Yeah, give it a go. Can I give it a go?" He was saying, "Can I get involved? Can I try that out?" So Keaton let him. And that's really stuck with me because that is the key to whether we get anywhere or not. Whether anything changes or not. It all depends on whether or not we will give it a go. I want a part of that. I want to be a part. Today, I'm leading to this. This week, this next Saturday, we're giving you the opportunity to change your life. We're giving you the opportunity to find out why you were created. We're not going to show you why you were created. You'll discover it with God. But it's a thing called kazon. Kazon is a Hebrew word that means a dream. What is your dream? What were you created to do? If you will come this Saturday from 9 to 2:30, there is no cost. Child care is provided. We'll have snacks in the morning and we'll provide you lunch. And we will give you the opportunity to get involved and discover why you were created, what you're supposed to do. But here's the deal. If you won't give it a go, it means nothing. It's absolutely wasted. And there are all sorts of reasons. Well, I can't come to that because I've already made plans. Let me tell you something. Your plans are not as important as what you might find out this week. I would change them. Well, I don't know. I've been to things before. I don't care where you've been before. You need to come to Kazone. Logan and Brenda are coming from Life Church. They're going to lead us through. But it is an incredible program where you get with God and you learn what you're created for. And then you begin to think, gosh, I could do this. I could get involved with that. I could take this next step. It could be, if you come, the defining moment of the entire rest of your life. In your pew, or your pew, not your pew, in your chair, there's a card. And it is you have a purpose card. My goal this morning is this, that I have convinced you that this is something you can't miss. There's no cost to it. Get a free meal. Sign up. Get a pen. Sign up right now. At the end of the service, I want you to take that card and I want you to give it to them right back there at the What's Next table. And say, I am going to be there. I know it's asking a lot to ask you to give up a Saturday. I know it's asking a lot to ask you to put aside things for this, but I'm telling you, there is nothing more important than this right now in your life. Will you give it a go? If you will, your life will change. Let's pray. Father, I thank you for your word and for its truth. And Lord, I pray if there's anybody here who doesn't know you, that you'll lead them in that direction. Help them discover what it means to follow Jesus and to get involved with you. But Lord, most of all, I pray for every single person here. I pray that you're working in their lives right now. and that you will convince them that regardless of what there is that stands in the way of this, that they will sign up and they will come. To let you show them what they're created for. I just pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Colossians 3:23 says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for man. Whatever you do, whatever you're passionate about. That doesn't mean that your passion has to be mission work or coming to church at 6 a.m. and cleaning the whole building, getting everything ready. It's whatever you're already doing in your jobs, in your daily lives. Work at it with all your heart. That's what Kazone is. It's finding your passion and finding God together, putting those together and moving forward with God. Some people here have never had a relationship with God. And it's really easy. All you have to do is talk to him. Say a prayer. God, I want to know you. You don't even have to label yourself a Christian. That word has so many negative connotations in the world right now, people don't even want to hear it. You can just be someone who's trying to follow God. So I encourage you to use those forms at your chairs and fill those out. If you need some prayer, if you need someone to talk to, if you just want to follow God and you don't know how, fill that out and we can help you. There's always someone at the What's Next booth. If you don't feel comfortable going there, fill out the card. Put your name so we can call you and pray for you. If you just have a prayer request, write it down. And we can be there to help you with that. So take those cards, please. Take those buckets at the end of your row and pass them forward. Put those cards in there. We want to help you guys. We want to help you find what you're passionate about. We want to help you follow God.